Say these things, be heard, and join us in the streets on June 14th all over this country. Go to mobilize.com. Go to tjcoalition.com. Join us all around this country and to say no kings. I told you that they want a monarchy. No kings. There is no kings. We're upset about 42 million or what, I don't know, Karen. It's all over the place what the estimates are, but it's more than 42 million. Dollars will be spent on his birthday party, military parade in D.C. Folks, it's time to stand up. Don't be quiet. We need you to make sure that you're making that phone call. Right, Darren? Right, Karen? Right, Daryl? Right, Darren?
You've touched the nerve. You've touched the nerve. You've touched the nerve. When we're talking about June the 14th in Washington, D.C., and this military parade that he wants to have on his birthday, on Flag Day, through the streets of Washington, D.C. I just want folks to understand this point, Barbara, that it's going to cost the District of Columbia millions of dollars to have this parade put on. You want to know one reason why? Because the streets in Washington, D.C. are not designed for tanks to go down the streets. So they're going to have to do stuff to the streets that prepare them for the tanks, and then they're going to have to deal with the destruction that occurs as a result of this. This is not who we are. We're better than this, as Congressman Elijah Cummings would always say. We're better than this. We don't need to show strength by having tanks roll down the street. We show strength by standing up for those that are weak. We show strength by standing up for the principles of democracy. That's what we need to be celebrating on June the 14th, Barbara.
Absolutely.
Barbara. I was calm before we started this conversation.
All right now, everybody knows Daryl is cool. He really gets agitated, but this is the real world that we're dealing with, right? Hey, Karen, what do you think? I mean, they're going to bring military tanks and have troops stepping down the darn Pennsylvania Avenue as some kind of military salute to him. I mean, this is what the Nazis did, right? This is what all dictators do. They always have the military salute them, right? Tell people. Go ahead.
Precisely. And the thing about it is they estimate it's upwards of $15 million with respect to what D.C. government is going to be charged with to repair the streets.
My Lord.
Now, we all know and should remember that Trump has a history of not paying his bills. So who is going to bear the brunt of that cost in the District of Columbia? Because if you're waiting for the federal government, after they've already cut the District of Columbia's everyday budget, operational budget, who's going to bear that cost? The taxpayers who don't even have representatives that can vote in the House or the Senate. But they're going to bear the brunt of that cost. I think another point that you both have touched on that we need to kind of circle back on is, understand what Barbara and Daryl are saying with respect to corporate authoritarianism and how it affects them. Because what they're doing is not just about greed, but it's about reach. Because when corporations start setting speech rules, shaping education, controlling infrastructure, owning media platforms, and dictating terms of what government is, they begin to operate as shadow states.
Right.
They aren't bound by Constitution. They aren't required to be transparent, and they can crush dissent, not with tanks, but with terms of service. That's why we're being asked to call our senators, get in the street, because a threat to democracy and dignity and the common good is what is at stake. That is what corporate authoritarianism is, and it must be dismantled, because what they're doing is rewarding compliance.
You got it.
Demands obedience, punishes organizing. Yes.
Yes, no, you're on it. I mean, that's why Daryl and I have been so persistent and being heard and active about fighting back against law firms bending their knee to this president. We are so angry about the law firms like Paul Weiss that have had the nerve to just say, Mr. President, we'll cut a deal with you. We'll do whatever you want to do, us to do. We're going to give millions. And it's over what, Daryl? It's over $1 billion that these law firms have pledged to the president so that he doesn't make it hard for them to access governmental contracts, etc. Folks.
You left the word out, Barbara. You left the word out.
Go ahead.
No. They're not going to be charging for these hours and this work that they're doing. Right. That's against the interest. Right. They're doing it for free. For free.
Right. And that's because they're cowards. They're cowards. And we want to applaud here's our heroes. Let's talk about our heroes and sheroes of the week, because we just talked about the villains. Again, the villains of the week, Elon Musk, with his drug-addicted madness and his racism that has infected this country even worse. Senator Joni Ernst, instead of letting them eat cake, just go ahead and die. We all gonna die, Joni Ernst. And Curtis Yarvin, democracy is dead, the active perpetrator, philosopher for these people with his number one goal to destroy democracy. Folks, we got our work to do. But let's talk about our heroes and sheroes, because we got some for this week. And we want to talk
Barbara,
about
I need to add on to what you just said, though, Barbara, because when you're talking about the black attorneys, particularly the black attorneys that are at these firms that are bowing the knee, bowing the head, whatever you want to say, to what's being asked of them of this regime that's in place. We got to remember they need to have what I call a Rosa Parks moment. They got to have this Rosa Parks moment. They have to have that moment where they say, Rosa Parks was asked by a friend of mine when he interviewed her, Miss Parks, why didn't you give up your seat? I appreciate that you wouldn't give up your seat. And she looked at him, and this is the moment that they've got to have. She said, young man, it wasn't my seat that I wouldn't give up. It was my dignity that I would not give up. That's what we need from these black attorneys now. Not that they are concerned about anything other than the dignity of what has been going forward. They've got to have that personal integrity to say that these are the values that Thurgood Marshall, these are the values that all of these other black attorneys have fought for us to be able to be in these positions. I will not bow at the knee so that I can advance my wallet. I've got to have that type of dignity, Barbara.
Woo! 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 Folks, if you understood, Daryl and I have been fighting with other black attorneys about standing up in this moment. People got this notion somehow they can hide. Somehow they can, if they're quiet enough, if they, acquiesce enough, that somehow they're going to be exempted from the pain that this administration intends to inflict on all people of color, that somehow they're going to escape, somehow their law firms are going to protect them, that somehow their good corporate jobs won't be impacted. They have this fantasy. Folks, you can't hide from tyranny. Somebody said it so well last night, that tyranny never, ever compromises, that it always demands total and absolute control. So it's so important for us to say that we are fighting and urging, black lawyers to be the leaders that the National Bar and all the other black organizations were created for. Don't capitulate. Don't go with conventional wisdom. Stand up. So that's why our one of our heroes and sheroes for this week are all the and I'm so glad to see it, all the general counsel at a number of the corporations, not all the corporations, because we know they're greedy and they want, these tax breaks and all the rest of it. That we know that's a problem. But interestingly, a number of corporate attorneys have said to these law firms that have made deals with Trump that they will not give them their business, that they are out, that they will not, do anything to support them, that they are through with their companies, and they've also started. Some of them have also started reducing the money that they spend with these firms. So we want to congratulate those, because the corporate sector has to stand up. That's why we have been, advocating the no DEI, no buy, because when they capitulate to this racist administration's demands that they not, hire and serve, our communities, not hire black folks, not hire women, not hire Native Americans, not hire Latinos, not hire Asians. When they are doing that racist drum beating, corporate America has largely been saying, oh, yeah, okay, some of them have, abandoned their programs, and we have been calling them out. You can go to our website, tjcoalition.org, to see those lists of corporations that are on our bad list. It's not just Target. Target is a problem, but you got Lowe's, you got a McDonald's, you got a whole lot of them up there. Banks who have just bowed. So we want to say thank you to the corporations that have stood up, and let's keep fighting, folks. Use that dollar that you got to spend by not spending it with these turncoat corporations. So please, go to tjcoalition.org and be sure to salute and to be there to support. As we said, it's not just the boycott, it's the boycott, and support the corporations that are doing the right thing, like Costco. Okay, who else do we want to mention, Daryl? Don't we want to talk about Tulsa and about that great mayor in Tulsa? Another hero, right?
Barbara. Yeah, please go ahead, Barbara. I mean, what's happening in Tulsa, and certainly Demario Simmons is to be commended for keeping that fight alive, and the mayor in Tulsa now announcing that there's going to be the beginning part of looking at reparations and a reparation trust fund that's going to be put in place so that the survivors of, $105 million they're trying to put into a trust fund for some of the survivors of the folks that were impacted by the Tulsa massacre. And this is just the very first step, the very beginning step. They got a long ways to go before the trust fund is completely put in place and that people can access it. But you got to commend them for taking that initial step, Barbara.
Oh yes, and I love Justice for Greenwood. All the love in the world to Mother Fletcher. All the love in the world to Mother Randall. Mother Fletcher, everybody, is 111 years old. And since the age of 6, she has been advocating for justice for her people, because that's the age she was when the Tulsa massacre happened. Thank God for her leadership, for her outstanding, just advocacy. Just thank God for her. Thank God for Mother Randall, who's what, Daryl? She's 107, I believe.
107 years old. Yeah, absolutely. She's 107 years old and still with it.